What if I told you that in one of the most advanced wars in human history, millions of dollars are being destroyed by something that costs less than a smartphone? Yes, this is actually happening right now in the war between Russia and Ukraine. And the weapon doing it is not a missile, not artificial intelligence, not even a drone. It's an inflatable fake tank. Pause for a second and think about that. In a battlefield filled with satellites, AI targeting systems, thermal cameras, and autonomous drones, a piece of rubber and air is tricking one of the largest militaries in the world. How? That's where the story gets interesting, because this strategy isn't new. In fact, it goes all the way back to World War II. During the famous deception campaign known as Operation Fortitude, Allied forces created an entire fake army to mislead Nazi Germany before the D-Day invasion. Fake tanks, fake aircraft, fake radio chatter. And it worked. Germany moved troops to the wrong place, while the rear invasion happened somewhere else. Now, jump forward to today. Drones fill the skies, satellites watch every movement, artificial intelligence scans the battlefield. So, logically, deception shouldn't work anymore, right? Wrong. In fact, deception might be more powerful today than it was 80 years ago, and Ukraine has figured out exactly how to use it. But before we explain how, here's a shocking number. Some military analysts estimate that destroying a modern tank like the M1 Abrams can require missiles costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now compare that to a Ukrainian decoy, around $1,000. Let that sink in. $1,000 versus weapons worth millions. So every time Russia fires at a fake target, it's basically burning money. But here's the real twist. Many Russian drone operators don't even realize they've been fooled. And the reason comes down to psychology. Imagine you're controlling a drone from miles away. You see what looks exactly like a rocket launcher. The heat signature matches, the shape looks correct, your system flags it as a high-value target. So, what do? Do you risk letting it escape? Or be a strike? Most operators choose to strike. And that's exactly what Ukraine wants. Because the moment the missile launches, the trap is already complete. Meanwhile, the real systems like HIMARS or M270 MLRS may be sitting somewhere completely different, untouched. But here's the part most people don't know. These decoys aren't just balloons shaped like tanks. They're engineered. Some include heating elements so thermal cameras see them as active vehicles. Others are positioned exactly where reconnaissance drones are likely to look. And some are even moved around regularly. Which raises a question. If satellites see them moving, if drones see heat, if AI flags them as targets, how do you know what's real anymore? That uncertainty is the real weapon. And the man behind many of these illusions is Viktor Talanov. Ironically, he didn't start in the military. He used to build inflatable sports equipment, hot air balloons, and children's bounce houses. Not weapons, not tanks, bounce houses. And somehow, those same skills are now frustrating a modern army. But decoys are only the beginning, because Ukraine didn't just create fake targets. They redesigned the battlefield itself. For example, along parts of the front line, soldiers started installing fishing nets. Yes, actual fishing nets. Sounds ridiculous, until you realize what they're catching. Drones. Certain fiber optic drones trail a control cable behind them as they fly. When those cables hit the nets, they tangle or snap. Drone gone. Thousands of dollars wasted. But the creativity doesn't stop there. Some Ukrainian drones now hunt other drones. In one case, engineers even built a drone carrying a small shotgun. Imagine that scene for a moment. 2 drones in the sky, one chasing the other, and suddenly, boom. Drone warfare has officially entered the strangest phase in military history. And the surprises keep coming. Both sides have started modifying tanks with cages and metal frames designed to block drone attacks. But one of the strangest images came from Russian air bases. observers noticed strategic bombers covered with old tires, actual car tires placed on the aircraft. Later reports even suggested some aircraft had tires painted on them. At first, it looked ridiculous, but here's the twist. Modern targeting systems rely heavily on pattern recognition. Change the shape enough, and sometimes the algorithm doesn't recognize the target at all. So the question becomes, is the future of war really about better AI or better tricks? Because right now, cheap solutions are causing massive problems for expensive weapons. Consider the economics again. A drone might cost $5,000. A missile to destroy it could cost hundreds of thousands. An inflatable decoy might cost $1,000, but it might attract a strike costing far more. And when this happens repeatedly across an 800-mile front line, the numbers become staggering. In fact, Ukraine's broader drone campaign has already pushed the conflict into a new phase. Long-range drones have struck oil facilities deep inside Russia. Some estimates from late 2025 suggested Russia's oil processing capacity dropped by around 18% because of these attacks. That matters because energy revenue has historically made up a huge portion of Russia's national income. Less processing, less revenue, less ability to fund the war. At the same time, manpower losses have been severe. Some analyses suggest Russian casualties since 2022 may have reached around 1.2 million. Which raises another question. If equipment is being lost, if money is being drained, and if manpower is shrinking, how do you keep fighting a long war? That's exactly why efficiency matters more than raw power. And that's where Ukraine's strategy becomes so dangerous. They're not trying to outgun Russia everywhere. They're trying to outsmart it. Every fake tank forces a decision. Every drone strike risks wasting resources. Every moment of hesitation slows operations. Individually, these tricks seem small, but together, they reshape the battlefield. Which leads to a bigger question about the future of war itself. What happens when artificial intelligence meets deception? What happens when autonomous drone swarms start attacking targets that might not even exist? Suddenly, the most advanced weapons in the world are chasing ghosts. And that might be the most important lesson of this entire conflict. Wars aren't always won by the side with the biggest army or the most advanced technology. Sometimes they're won by the side that adapts faster, thinks creatively, and forces the enemy to make costly mistakes. And right now, on a battlefield watched by satellites and drones, one of the most powerful weapons in use is still a trick invented nearly a century ago.